Welcome to the squad. He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe to our page. This is sponsored by Rayon Cognac. Join the movement. Check out our ticker to get more information on Rayon Cognac. Hit us on Facebook, DM us, or call the number below. We're going to be talking about the NFL, some NFL news, a lot of news happening there. College basketball, the NBA, some of the trading deadline is coming February 5th. We'll give you our last minute kind of shots, but before that, we'll give you what's on your mind, son. We usually go to Ice on that and what's on his mind in sports. But NFL, the Super Bowl is next week, and I just want the season to be over with. But we're going to give our predictions because one of the teams didn't make it that I thought should make it. But anywho, you have the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to go to you, Ice. What are your thoughts on this game? And give me your prediction.
You think about Seattle in regards to what they're doing and being the favorite over New England. I think Seattle's played real well. They surprised you a little bit when you start thinking about how good their defense has been. And then, of course, their quarterback finally finding a number one target. They've been really playing out that real well in the 12th man at home. So I can see why they're the favorite. But I also like New England from the standpoint of Mike Bravel and what they've done with the defense. And then when you think about Drake May, who has completed 72% of his passes, right, over the regular season. So he's like the leader in that category. So it goes a long way. I also like the 1-2 punch at running back with Mondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson. I like the way they play. If I was looking at it, I probably would think that Seattle has the advantage or the upper hand, but I like the way that the grit that New England has shown. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but if I had to pick a team that I think is going to win, I think New England's going to get it done. I know that's not popular. Everybody's talking about how young Drake May is, but New England's been doing things that have not made sense and have not made any sense, kind of like what Chicago did earlier, becoming that playoff team, but it's been grinding. And I think they might find a way with Vrabel to try to get this done.
Yeah, I look at Seattle as that team that probably benefited from a lot of events that happened in the NFC and a lot of things that we thought was going to happen. We thought Philly would be better. We thought San Francisco would be better. We thought the Rams would be better, and they benefited from it. I'll give it to Sam Darnold. He has played really well for the last 2 seasons, but I really don't trust him. And these are games where I really don't trust him, where it gets bigger and bigger like this. I really don't trust him against an opponent they really don't know. And I'm expecting him to show up. I've been expecting him to show up for a long time. He reminded me of Kirk Cousins, the bad Kirk Cousins and the good Kirk Cousins. In New England, even though I really don't like New England, they find a way to win. They find a way to win games. They find a way to game plan for teams, and they come prepared. Nobody thought they were going to beat Denver, and they went up to Denver. They prepared for Denver. Okay, Bo Nix didn't play. So what? They prepared in the snow. And everybody's saying, hey, the altitude, all that stuff. New England was like, damn that, we're coming here to win a football game and we're going to the Super Bowl. And I like their coach. I like how he helps that team and puts that team in the best position to win. So I have to go with New England also, even though I'm not a Kraft fan and a New England fan. You know, that's a team that I think could, if anybody could beat Seattle in that defense, I think that May can do that. And I think this New England team will do that. But there's been some other news. And speaking of New England, Bill Belichick does not get into the Hall of Fame. I can go first on this. If you want me, I'll go first on this. And I'm saying y'all have short memories in sports, history. You really have short memories. Everybody's calling Bill Belichick the greatest coach alive and all this other stuff. Bill Belichick did a lot of cheating, and that got him caught up. He did a lot of cheating, and y'all act like y'all don't remember his press conferences where he didn't want to be here, acting like a little 8-year-old boy, wouldn't answer. He really couldn't open his mouth to talk, wouldn't answer questions. He was not a media darling, and he went down to North Carolina, stuck it up there with his teenage girlfriend, and now y'all want to put him in the Hall of Fame in the first ballot. This is what you get when you cheat. And a lot of people remember Bill Belichick and his coaches filming teams, covering up Deflategate and all that other stuff. He cheated, and he'll get in the Hall of Fame. But I think we need to remind you that this guy didn't do it on the up and up like he's one of these great strategists, great coaches. Think about it. When Tom Brady left, what did Bill Belichick do? He was not even mediocre as a coach. Okay. And then you have Jimmy Johnson who's saying, I'm not going to the Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. You don't care if you go at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Nobody really watches it anymore because y'all been letting a lot of folks in that don't need to be in. But sometimes the numbers don't kind of add up when in Hall of Famers. There might have been some players, it was this last time getting in, and the numbers didn't fall Bill Belichick's way. But I tend to believe that the sport, whoever is on these committees is saying, you know what, he wasn't really a nice person. And he doesn't deserve first ballot. I don't care how many Super Bowls he won. I don't care what people think about how great of a coach he was. And it makes me think that ESPN really didn't have too much to talk about this week because the Super Bowl wasn't happening this week. And they needed to kind of float this story around all week. Nobody really cares. Nobody cares. Your thoughts, man?
From the standpoint of, I understand the uproar, but why is what I'm asking. And granted, I know these are two different arenas, and we're talking about the NFL, but he's still coaching. So what's the big deal?
If you
He's
want to
still
call it
coaching. He
that,
didn't.
yeah, he's still
Yeah, I
coaching.
mean, he's still he's active, right? And I know that's NFL college, but why are you so upset about it? Is it because New England made the Super Bowl? What is the rush? Was he that great that you go, wow, from the standpoint of we better get him in immediately? I mean, he was very good, but again, to your point, you had a lot of integral parts that were working. So he might have been at the top, or he might have been the figurehead. But you had a lot of when you look about the coaching staff, and maybe a lot of those coaches that were on the staffs over the years were not quality head coaches, but they're damn good assistants. So they kept that thing running along the way that they played football, particularly on the offensive line and other places that wide receiver where you started to use the small running backs, gap backs as your wide receivers. So you think about Amendola and the other guys that they were moving along in the way Brady and them were playing, and then of course using the tight end. But that wasn't just the mindset of Belichick. It was a bunch of other people playing those roles. So with that being said, I don't understand the urgency. Sometimes the workers are the ones that deserve the love compared to the head coaches. And I think that's where you should start. So there'll be time for him. It's not the end of the world about first ballot, not being first ballot Hall of Famer until you fix the way that the damn baseball Hall of Fame is going and the steroid crap. I really don't give a damn about no other Hall of Fames until you get this right. Because Belichick, he was very good. He had a great quarterback, and he had a lot of great teams. But I'm not gonna say, ooh, maybe the competition wasn't as good as we thought, because no people would normally say there might have been 3 Super Bowls that they should have lost. Seattle, still looking for Pete Carroll on that one. But that's neither here nor there. But I don't think it's that big a deal that he didn't get in
Yeah. It
or
was a
just so early.
it was a former player who was being interviewed. I forget who he's being interviewed by, and they were talking about Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels, and they said when he first took over, he was like 6-0. And he would get in the meetings, he's like, hey, when you see this formation, I want you, linebackers, I want you to run to this spot. And either you're going to get hit in the back or you could turn around and get an interception. And then when the scandal came out about them filming, he was like, man, we ain't won a game in such and such and such time. Maybe we weren't that good. And that's what I see in this particular situation. You weren't that good. You were cheating. And when you got caught, you threw everybody else under the bus except you. You threw Brady under the bus. You threw the coaches. Oh, I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't aware of it. And you threw everybody under the bus. And this is what you get. I hope they don't put you in next year either, to be honest, to kind of stick it to you for cheating all those years and throwing everybody else under the bus. You take the last word on this while I sip this.
Yeah, no problem. A perfect example when it comes to the staff that they had, impeccable the way that they went about their business and handled business. So from that standpoint, so again, to me, it really comes down to the staff, not so much the head coach and
Act like you
how.
didn't know and act like you were innocent in this. Please, miss me. Miss me.
I'll just say this too. My last point on this. You want to know how he would have received? I would have been really up in arms why he wasn't first ballot Hall of Fame if he had done the same damn thing close to it in Cleveland, because they deserved it too. How come you couldn't do it in Cleveland? Because they didn't have the personnel?
Hmm.
Or what was it? Well, what did you do in Cleveland? So before I go, oh my God, one of the great, okay, you will never, I will always remember Cleveland. I will always remember Cleveland. You don't get a pass because you was in Cleveland. You were in Cleveland. And what did you do? Then all of a sudden, you go over here and you get all happy because you get Tom Brady. So like this kind of like what we're gonna see what Stefanski does when he goes down to Atlanta. You don't get a pass, bro, because you was in the mix and you was in the mess. Leave it there.
Yeah, I know there's some coaches that are taking over. Quebec is with the Raiders, and LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator, he's making some moves. So we'll track that over time. But next, we want to talk about college basketball. There have been some upsets, and there have been some great games. I keep telling people there have been some great games in college basketball. So if you're missing out on watching college basketball action, take a break from the NBA and all the traveling and missed calls and the spoiled athletes, and check out these guys in college. They're really playing hard. Even the women are playing hard also. Let's go through the top 10 of college basketball, the AP ranking. Arizona, 22 and 0, still holding that 22 game win streak, along with Miami of Ohio, holding that 22 game win streak. They are ranked number 24. I want to give them a shout out. But Arizona remains number one, followed by UConn, who really scares me. It feels like a UConn year. I'm saying that right now. Feels like a UConn year. Followed by Michigan, who outlasted Michigan State recently. Followed by Duke is number 4. Nebraska and Illinois are playing right now. So that seems to be a good game. It's 31-31 on my television set in the first half. You have Gonzaga had a big win over St. Mary's last night. Michigan State is number 7. Iowa State had a big win today against K-State. You have Illinois, who's ranked number 9, and Houston falls 4 spots to number 10. Your eye test on college basketball.
Yeah, lots going on. As you mentioned, I agree with you on UConn. UConn has played a hard schedule. They still continue to win. Very impressed by them. Impressed by Arizona at number 1, too. But again, I'm just a little leery about Arizona because of the fact that what they've been doing for the last few years. They get your hopes up, and we want to put them in the Final Four or to win it all like I did one year. They break your heart. You're not gonna break my heart again. So you're gonna have to win it and keep me quiet. But I'll be interested to see that. I watched got a chance to watch Michigan twice this week. Saw Michigan defeat Ohio State right earlier, and then I also watched them beat Michigan State. They are so big and they are so talented that when they win these type of games with those two victories, you're not surprised, but you always think they can be better, and you want to know whether or not how good they really will be, and can they run a string of victories over the course of the tournament. Definitely impressed by Nebraska. I don't care if they don't win 2 more games. The way that they play and they come real hard, and then you look at the roster and you say to yourself, they really don't match up well with almost any team. They're always on the smaller side, but they're tough as hell and they will play anybody. That's why I like them from that standpoint at Nebraska. And then you go down the line, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Illinois is doing real well. They just dropped Houston. They just beat Cincinnati again. I think they just don't like Houston. And I am not mad at that. I know they lost to Texas Tech earlier, but it's just and that's okay. I love it because that means when they get seated, they're not going to be on the top. They're going to fall somewhere, probably a 6 or a 7, which is cool. Probably a 6, which means they're going to probably end up somewhere. Please send them out west. Please. Because they're coming back. Tell you that right now. They're trying to put them down south. But if they lose enough games right now, they're at what? Number 10. Please put them out west. They're coming out the west, bro. And I know Arizona out there, but Arizona versus Houston, when it's all crowded and everything is on the line, sign me up. Sign me up.
I,
Been there, done.
I knew you were going to be saying this, and I was watching the Houston game this weekend, and it's like there's something missing with them. They're not like that the team that we saw 2 3 years ago, the Houston team that seemed so dominant and I mean just steamroll out of the teams. It seems like they're missing something, and I can't put my finger on what it is. But you see the coach after every game, he does not look happy or satisfied, even when they win. He's not looking like this is the team that I can put, my saddle on and we can ride to the national championship. You seem like he seemed like he's unhappy. And we talked about another team. I'll wait until we talk about BYU and what I see in them. But your response to they seem to be missing something, the Cougars.
But I think that's okay though, because when they do have it all together and they run like they did last year, that's okay. And I think you mentioned before, you mentioned about I think it was off air, we talked about Florida, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're missing something. But it's like they're not the same team, it's not the same squad. But I think that means that they're growing, right? And sometimes maybe they're just missing something, and that means they're not gonna be as good as we thought. But with all those expectations, they're still getting it done. They have a guard that is amazing. Dropped what, 46? So I think there's a lot of room for Houston to improve. I don't think you have to be perfect. And Calvin Simpson is always mad. They almost won the national championship last year, and he had a scowl on his face every time they moved up. So he ain't never happy. He can win the championship. He be like, you know what you could have done better? What the? Come on, Calvin. Dang, come on. You don't say, come on, Calvin. What we doing? He's like, you know what you should have done? It's like, was Bobby Knight ever happy?
No, never.
Ever.
Never.
So,
Yeah, touche. We were talking about BYU offline, and one of the things, the problems I have, AJ Desponsi is a second half player sometimes, and BYU cannot get it together in the first 20 minutes of a game. And that kind of scares me because these games, if they would have played the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes, they could have beat Arizona. They could have beat Kansas. They could have beat a lot of these teams that they're playing that are highly ranked teams. And they seem to be falling to these teams. But I'm not sure what's happening in coaching or with them kind of making game time adjustments, especially in the first half, to get them wins because trying to come back in the second half and is not working for them. And also, it seems like the players don't know their roles. The point guard is trying to take over games where you got to put it in AJ's hands in the last few seconds of the game. That is your guy that's going to get you a bucket or get to the foul line. And it just seems like they're not playing to their potential, and they figure it out at halftime somehow, and they come back, and it's like too little, too late.
I can see what your point there, and I get it. But when I think about last year and the teams that really made runs, I think about how Duke made their run, right? We had Cooper Flag and those other guys. But the one thing, a couple intangibles that I think make for really good teams is you got to have one or two guys or three guys, as you said, that had that chemistry to be able to rise up and get the rest of the team going. If you notice last year, even though Florida was this close and they barely won, they always had the point guard was the Clayton. You had so many other guys that at the right time they would zoom up. And I think the issue with BYU is the fact that they don't have those guys. They're always looking at AJ, you're looking at the other forward, but other people have to step up collectively. That's what makes you good. That's what makes you good as a team, which I think Arizona's figuring out right now. Duke is trying to do the same thing. But for a team like BYU, perhaps they have on paper, they might be pretty good. But you just can't be pretty good against elite teams, right? And when you look at their schedule, they play a hard schedule. Think when you think about it, they have not, I mean, I haven't really seen, maybe I didn't look at the schedule long enough, but they have played some very top tier teams. And to lose to those teams is not I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, you look at the schedule that UConn has played. UConn has lost a few games. I mean, UConn is what
They
they
21.
lost one. They lost one game. Yeah, but they've been in battles. So sometimes even when a team like BYU, you play all these teams early on, and you say, well, damn, they lost 4 games, right? You lost whatever. What is the in fact? What is their record? They lost.
It's
They only
9
lost 2 games. They only lost 2 games. But the point of it is, they playing everybody. And I think because they're not getting over the hump undefeated, it kind of shows that they're maybe not together, as you said. But I think they're going to get better because of the competition, who you play. You keep playing these teams. When you mentioned about Houston and teams like that, you keep playing good teams. When you get to the tournament, it's almost like a relief. Because you're like, well, damn, we played, man. We played Houston, we played Kansas, then we came back around. We played Brigham Young, then we played Duke, and we played this, and we played that, and all these other teams. You like, damn, we played Michigan. Michigan beat us by 30. So after a while, you go, whew, now we get to play a team we think we can beat. We play Tennessee. We play Auburn. We can beat them. They're not nowhere near as tough as some of the other teams we play. So I guess my point to is, I don't know what's going to happen with Brigham Young, but I'll say, hey, give them a chance and let them see what happens because all that matters right now is that they move forward and improve as we get close to the tournament, right? They need to shine for 6 weeks, 6 games, but 6 weeks, 6 games, whatever it may be. And that's when they need to come on. The rest of it right now, like people could complain that Michigan State didn't beat Michigan yesterday. This, you just intertwining, learning, experiencing through the ebbs and flows. And when the tournament comes, that's when it counts.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to that also. Let's move on to NBA basketball. And the trading deadline is coming up on February 5th. There have been some rumors happening with Antetokounmpo from Milwaukee, some other players around the league. I know that Zion Williamson has been in trade talks for the whole season. I'm not sure where he's going or whether or not people are really interested in him. And Kaminga, whether or not these players are hurt and can go somewhere. Paul George just had a suspension, 25 games. And here's why Draymond Green is not my favorite person. He put a tweet out, dry snitching on LeBron James, saying, "Man, the way how high LeBron James is jumping, they might want to test him too." So
I'm
your
gonna leave it
eye
alone.
test on NBA News, man. You can take any one of those.
I'm
I
gonna need
saw
some
the tweet and like,
cognac.
what? I thought that was your boy.
I honestly believe that sometimes Draymond Green is just likes to be messy. I really believe that and he knows how the media is, and he just want to be messy as hell. And he says stuff like that, and LeBron probably just say, just
I know
say,
they're gonna
because
test him because the picture he showed, LeBron's head was around the rim. It's like at 40 years old, your head is around the rim. You ain't taking nothing. You ain't taking no Percocet steroids. What? What?
LeBron like he just mad he ain't playing, so he got to come up with something. He's just mad he ain't on the court. He always in trouble. He always doing something wrong. So he's probably saying that to himself. So it's probably not. And now Draymond's probably frustrated. Is he still doing this podcast? I heard a lot about him on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't watch it or listen to it, and
Yeah,
don't
I
watch.
used to watch it with him and Baron Davis, but I'm not sure now. So maybe he's just bored. So he's just taking shots and he's like, since I'm over on the bench, let me play some solitaire. Or let me look at get my phone. So to that effect. I don't know.
It makes me think that when he's not famous anymore, what is he gonna do to get attention? Is he going to do something crazy to get attention and get arrested or do something? I mean, because this type of behavior, it usually just flows right into regular life. So if he doesn't have this kind of distraction with playing basketball, I look at his basketball career as a distraction from really kind of go out there living life on life terms. And if he kind of has this, attitude and the way he plays on the court and the dirty antics and crazy antics, is that going to follow him in real life? And then we might be doing a story on him being arrested for whatever, disturbing the peace and whatever. That's what makes me think about it. I don't
See,
know.
for me though, I think it's a little different because I can see where you're coming from there. I think though Draymond Green is a more than capable analyst, or he can be on TV because he's knowledgeable about the game. He is knowledgeable and he's honest about the game. So I can see him taking that route. Now, if you were to take that away from him, I can see you talking about going off into another area. I think he's done enough and proven enough that he really understands how the game is played, and also playing that role of getting your hands dirty, not being a superstar, playing that fill-in role, another kind of added piece to a really good team. I think that's what makes him a great analyst because he's not coming off this high and mighty type thing. Every time you hear about Draymond Green, it's always him being in the trenches, right? Getting his hands dirty or playing a certain kind of way. And I think that's what makes him a pretty good analyst. So as long as he's able to do that and go back and forth, I think he's going to be okay.
Some notable games coming up this week. You're going to have Kansas at Texas Tech. And Texas Tech is ranked currently number 11. Kansas is ranked number 14. You're going to have North Carolina at versus Syracuse, not at Syracuse, but versus Syracuse. That's going to be a good game. North Carolina is ranked number 16. A team that a lot of people are not really paying attention to, but I am. Virginia is ranked 17th, 18-3. They're going to be playing Pittsburgh. You have Vanderbilt, who is ranked number 18. They're 19-3. They're going to be playing Oklahoma. And Florida State is going to be playing at Florida, sorry. It's going to be playing at Texas A&M. And so that should be a good game. Also, another good game out the ACC, Clemson, who is 18-4 and ranked 22, will be playing at Stanford. Stanford's been surprising a lot of teams, especially in the ACC. And one more game I want to note is Alabama, who really got hammered by Florida today, but they're going to be playing Texas A&M on Wednesday, and so that should be a good game, and hopefully Alabama can rebound. Any other thoughts on college basketball, man?
Yeah, I want to just see. I thought Alabama was going to be good since they got that new transfer in, right? The guy that played overseas or something. They said they're supposed to be ready to move forward, and Florida's like, whoop. And we had talked about Florida earlier from the standpoint of why they were kind of Jekyll and Hyde, right? In this season so far. But I think the point of it is they're not the same team. They don't have the same guys that are making the quality plays that they did last year. There's new blood, which means that they're going to have new people have to step up. But as we can see what happened today, the way that they shellacked Alabama, they had a talent. It just depends on whether or not somebody's going to step up in those moments when they can be great again and kind of resurface like last year's team did.
What's on your mind, son?
What I find interesting is the standpoint of the NBA when you start talking about trades and certain things like that too. What I'm learning or what's on my mind is the fact that I realize, and maybe because I'm getting older, that this is not the same NBA I used to watch. It's just not. And I watch some of these players and I watch how people talk about certain teams and how good they really are. But I also realize that I'm gonna have to just get over it that the league has changed. It's all about offense now. They don't play defense, kind of like in football. I really appreciate defense. I like to see all around play. And it's just more or less a gunslinger type of NBA. And I get that, but I guess maybe that's where it kind of frustrates me too, because I had to understand there's going to be change and I had to accept change or move out the way. But the other thing too I remember is I had to remind myself back in the day when could only take, if you took more than 1.5 steps, it was a travel, right? Now you got dudes with these fadeaway jumpers or these step backs as they call them, and they take it 6 steps. And I just can't even watch it. I cannot watch it from that standpoint. But yeah, games has changed, and I just had to wait until the playoffs to watch this because some of the stuff I don't understand. The only thing saving grace for me about NBA basketball right now are the Charlotte Hornets. It's like watching the Globetrotters every night. They don't give a damn about nothing. You were talking about Miller over there and also Ball. They're just playing, having fun, free fall, probably don't play any defense off. but you will never ever. It's a highlight waiting to happen. Sometimes you turn around and beat by 16. Next time you turn around and beat a team that they're not supposed to be by 20. But they are damn sure hellified exciting. And you will go, oh, did you see that move? Now they may not win the game, but you damn sure gonna get a highlight every freaking game. So I appreciate them. And they may not make the playoffs, but definitely worth watching and catching my attention for sure.
Yeah, let's go to the last second shot. My last second shot, and we're going to be talking about this on the boxing show. There were a lot of fights last night. You had January 31st going to go down in history as one of the pivotal kind of shifts in boxing. These young men put it down. Check out our boxing show, The Fight Game. And I'm sitting there. I turned to ESPN after the fight, looking to get some highlights from all the other sports. And the only highlights that they went into in length was the WWE, sports entertainment. So I'm like, you know what? I can't watch this. I can't sit around waiting on real sports to happen when you put on the WWE. And I went to CBS Sports, and they're analyzing the UFC fights. They're going through college basketball. They're giving you sports. ESPN, wake up. The WWE wrestling is not a sport. That's not what sports folks like. I know you're trying to target an audience that follow that and believe in that, but you're losing your audience, and you wonder why your ratings are going down and people aren't watching your show. The only show, and I will say this until they put on some really good shows, the only show that's worth watching is Pardon the Interruption. That's the only show worth watching. The rest of them, you can just put in a bag and just throw it down the river because you're giving us the same thing over and over and over again. But to do WWE and try to push it as a sport, when all the college basketball, men and women college basketball, all the sports are going around, you want to do 20 minutes on the WWE? That's not going to work for your network. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And the executives, I don't know who told you or what marketing genius told you that this would work. It's not working. Your last second shot.
Yeah, my second shot is kind of going to ring familiar, but I thought it was a hilarious moment. Recently, the Cleveland Browns selected a head coach, and the head coach's name is Todd Monken, Monken, and he's recently served as the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, and ironically, you're like, I understand that the defensive coordinator for the Browns, Schwartz, was excited because everybody said, oh, he's going to be the head coach. He's the coach in waiting, and he could do some great things because they had a pretty solid defense, right, at times. So apparently, the Brown front office decided to go somewhere else, and they went with Monken, who's the offensive coordinator to work with, of course, with when you think about from the standpoint of Lamar Jackson over at Baltimore. So they bring him in. He's an offensive coordinator, mine or whatever. So he's in the office, and then all of a sudden, there's a video that appears where it shows Shador Sanders. Yeah, that's Shador Sanders walks into the office, and he's greeted by the general manager, Mr. Barry, and they have a congratulations or a shake hands. Hey, good to see you or whatever. And right past him, he walks to his new head coach. Shador does. And before they can even get started, they go to embrace, and Shador starts laughing. And it's like, hey, good to see you. So what's up, Shador? And of course they start to laugh. And the head coach said, we tried to draft your ass last year. And Shador just bust out laughing because he knew what he was talking about. The Baltimore Ravens wanted to draft Shador Sanders. But then, of course, there was some kind of something going on, some hiccup that says Shador, they thought did not want to go to Baltimore behind Lamar Jackson. So he says either one, he want to go somewhere we might be able to play. So Baltimore heeded, I guess, allegedly, what was being said. And they said, well, we're not going to waste the pick. But then again, as you get in there, and this head coach is the new head coach at Cleveland, it comes in and goes, he said, we will talk about that further at length. But I just want to let you know, that's some bullshit, whatever you and your dad was on. Okay. He said, I'm glad I got you now. But that was some bull. But again, it comes back to the point of the collusion, if there was such a thing amongst the NFL. This guy comes in and tells you they were prepared to take the leap But then again, you go through the whole drama and everything, and he doesn't get picked by until the fifth round. Shador, that is, by the Cleveland Browns. But prior to that, the front office and whoever had this all set up, you go through basically three other quarterbacks, your two veterans, and Dylan Gabriel, and you end up because you did not give Shador Sanders any allegedly first team reps because he was never going to see the light of day. He ends up at the end being your damn starting quarterback, right? When he could have been probably better if you would have gave him some damn time, at least on the practice field. So now, the guy that you swore would never see the end of the day, to see the field in Cleveland, now is an alternate at the damn Pro Bowl. And guess who he's gonna be there with as his teammate again? Joe Flacco? Cleveland, what the fuck are y'all doing? Two months, because y'all just threw away basically, said wasn't ready our replacements at the Pro Bowl. What are they doing at that? But then again, they got rid of the coach. And now I think the general manager, Barry, is like, well, hey, we're going to figure this out. And now they're saying Shador could be the starter coming back from Cleveland because now Mike can understand what's going on. Man, bro. Barry, you better get it together, brother. Your time is thin. Ask the general manager over in Minnesota. He thought he was safe. As soon as they turned around and got his ass out there, they moved on. He has still not gone over from letting one quarterback go for a younger quarterback. Get it right, Barry. You might have got it right by bringing this coach in because at least he recognizes talent when he sees it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's our show. We'll see you next week. Good shot. Good shot.
Fuck, I just need to see one thing within the next 5 years.
What's
I
that?
want a team. I want a team back in Seattle as far as NBA.
We're gonna wait for that for years. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I just wanted some Seattle Supersonic shit. I love them.
Would they
That
even call
green and
them the
gold.
Supersonics?
I don't know. Just you might as well. They ain't no Supersonics no more. Put them back out there and have Ray Allen coming out of retirement.
Okay. Now you're asking for too much for $2, Harold.
Ray Allen, KD, trade KD out there.
Come back for the Christmas special, the
Yeah,
Christmas
let's
stuff.
get the game back together and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, come back at Christmas, Harold, because
Yeah.
$2.
Start silver bells, start.
You're reaching a little bit.
Hey, you remember good times in your life? I remember watching Lonnie Shelton, Jack Sigma,
Just go watch the 50 Cent Pittsburgh. Call it a day.
Nah, that ain't the same because it's the only time I know in my life I didn't mind being fooled. I purposely would not watch the news so I could not hear the score of the game. Because they used to have tape delay
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
They be saying, "Oh, here's the score at 11." I would not watch that shit on purpose because I just wanted to act like that shit was live. And then Brent Musburger would be, "You are live." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you had me there. You went just a little bit over.
Hey man, I missed that time. That shit was beautiful, man. Halftime highlights with Howard Cosell. That shit was about 2 minutes. I thought it was like 35 minutes and shit. What I
He
think
was so
as
dramatic.
a kid.
You thought it was like
Oh, you like dun dun dun.
the music.
RFK Stadium. The frozen tundra. They show us dun, 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 they be in slow motion. Dun, 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 dun. And you see Chuck Foreman, number 44, he could go. No. Dun, 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 dun. You see, oh man.
With the mouth.
Yeah, I'm saying. Oh my God. And that music. Oh man. And you drop back. And it was an outstanding game. It was an upset in San Francisco as Atlanta's quarterback Steve Bartkowski came to life.